We need to understand something when it comes to occupational rent is that it's not going to the bond. So if you have been paying occupational rent, that does not mean that that amount is going to the bond. So if there's an owner, previous owner who was there, the money is going to them. Number two is that we also heard that there's an opportunity that you can, some cases it does happen, whereby you can negotiate that occupational rent. I mean, I remember even with us, we were in a situation whereby, I need you to also understand from an investor side, right? We were in a situation whereby we just fixed the property and then we just wanted to get rid of it. We're not living there. So understand something, if nobody's living there, that means that house is at risk because now people around will see. So if that person came through to us and was like, gents, bare minimum, this is how much that I can afford. Trust me, it would have been difficult, but at the same time, it would have been that thing that, you know what, I know that it's safe because these guys come through, man. I don't know why, but hey, they pull up, man.
I remember
they pull up, man.
I remember we had a property, right, and it was vacant because we're flipping properties, right? We had a property, the property was vacant. And now this property is vacant. Now we're having this person that's coming through and they just stealing things one by one. Have you ever went to your property, the first time you go, you know that you put a spotlight there in the front yard. When you go back, the spotlight is not there. Maybe the first time you'll be like, maybe they won't come back. You leave. The next time you come back, you know those wires that go to the intercom.
Yeah.
The next time
they
go
even
back,
stole your intercom, bro. They stole your intercom. Imagine Level had an intercom. You know how nice an intercom, bro. They stole it, bro.
The next time you go back, the intercom is gone, and also they were taking out the wires from the ground. So just make sure that if you are flipping a property or if there's nobody living in that property, I mean, I'd rather have somebody living in that property not paying occupational rent.
Yeah.
However, I know that this property is actually safe.
Yeah. When I haven't had the luxury of owning a house with an intercom, Level beat me to that one.
No. You must learn. You must learn. This is something that's going to save you a lot of money, especially as a property investor if you're going into rental, right? So please listen to this, right? So
how much are you saving us?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Let's just leave it like that. It's a lot. Now, whenever you're going to be inheriting a tenant, right, it might mean a lot of things, right? The property investor might be selling the property because they've had it with this tenant. The tenant doesn't want to pay on a monthly basis. And now with a residential property, you can't say that, no, bring me your bank slip. I want to see if this tenant was paying on time every month. You can't do that, right? Now, what is the solution? Solution number one is to tell the person that's selling you this property, the estate agent, that you want the property vacant. When you move in or upon registration, the property needs to be vacant, right? That's the first option. Second option is that if you do want to inherit this tenant, they need to reapply, right? They need to reapply so that you are able to check that what's wrong with this tenant. Is this tenant a good person? Because now most of the time, I'm sure if you've asked people that, if you asked estate agents that, why is this person selling? Most of the time, no, they're relocating to another area. Most of the time, it's not relocation. Most of the time, they're running away from the tenant. So just make sure that you make them reapply, check their credit score, tell them to give you their IDs so that you can also check their credit score from TPN. So if you're looking or trying to understand that how do you check their credit score or your tenant's credit score, you can just check them on TPN. Or they can actually, the agent, right, because they are vouching for them, they can send you a TPN report on that person that's living in the property so that you can understand their credit score and if you want them to stay. If not, if their credit score is not right,
the 90% home loan approval, what does it mean? So the 90% home loan approval, what we're saying is that if the bank is coming to us and saying that they can borrow us 90%, in a nutshell, if the house was worth 1 million, then that means the bank will then put down 90% and I need to put down 900,000.
Yeah. So the bank will give you 900,000 and then you need to put down a deposit of 100,000. So now this will vary from one situation to another. Some people will actually qualify for 100%, like me.
It's because of the credit score.
So some people will actually qualify for 100%, and then some people won't qualify for 100%.
Yeah.
There are a lot of elements that come through to determine that should you get 100% or not. So now this will be the credit score, and sometimes it's because of the area.
Yeah.
Remember, area also does play a role in terms of how much the bank is exposing themselves on the property that they're giving you, or the financing that they're giving you. They might say that they'll give you 70%, and then you'd need to finance the 30%. So in that way, it had nothing to do with you but the property.
Yeah. When buying, who should pay the rates, certificates? Is it the seller or the purchaser? It's the seller. The seller is responsible for the documents before the sale goes through. However, we were in a situation. I remember the seller didn't have those certificates, and they were like, I'm not interested. I'm not going to get you those. I'm just not interested in this property. Whatever happens, let it happen to it. So we ended up, because I remember we had a meeting with our lawyer, and then we were like, hey, my lady, this is the situation. And it was more of a situation whereby the owner was like, I'm not interested. And we saw that it's taking time from our side. Unfortunately, we were like, we'll just close our eyes and then get somebody to, I almost said buy the certificates. Get someone who's certified, who go there and make sure that everything is in order so that we get those certificates.
The reason why you need a credit score for rental property is to actually determine, especially as a property investor, to determine what kind of person are you letting into your property. Now, if someone can't pay on a monthly basis their jeans and they can't commit to paying 100 rand for their jeans, what makes you think as a property investor that that person is going to be committed to paying the 300 or the 3,000 on a monthly basis to your property? So the reason why we actually go for a credit score is that I want to understand that what type of person is this. Now, if you're going towards if you're applying, I mean, I know Mokas, right? Mokas, it's just that thing, now you look like a good man. You look like a good man.
I am a good man.
You can just come into my property. It's fine. Pay me on a monthly basis. However, once you start going to something or to people that are more formalized, what they're going to ask you for is your FICA documents. So FICA documents means that it's your ID, it's your pay slip, and it's your bank statement. So what they then do is that they draft or they draw up a TPN, what's called a TPN report. So TPN will actually tell you the credit score of this person. It will also give you what are the chances of that person squatting in your property.
What's a squatter?
Squatter is somebody that's coming into your property and they are saying that I'm squatting. So I'm not leaving the property and I'm not paying you on a monthly basis. Now, how this actually works is that the more people that are using TPN or the more property investors use TPN, the more efficient it becomes. Because if I'm having someone squatting in my property, I can just report them on TPN, get them out of my property. Once they are out, if they do go to another property and ask for them to, or ask to rent out the property, then chances are they won't get the property because the next person would have known that this person isn't the right person to be moving in my property.
It's like our own TransUnion then.
Yeah. It's our own, what do they call those things?
What?
Those things that you have at work where they fight for you.
Oh, yeah, it's trade union.
Trade union.
Yeah.
Not TransUnion.
Come on. TransUnion, I was understand where I'm coming from. I was saying come on. You need to be very aware of something, and I've seen content about this, and it pains me when we don't necessarily really understand the magnitude of what situations are we putting ourselves into. Most of us are in such a rush to own until I really understand the magnitude of that situation, whereby as soon as I own it, I'm not able to afford it. Or now I've got financial distress. Whatever that I'm earning, it goes out. Yes, I bought a house with a partnership with a bank, but when I'm looking at my finances, I can't sleep at night. We need to be aware of that. Because I'm seeing a lot of content creators that are saying it's easy to invest, just get this affordability thing. No, really look within, really look deep in and say that if I'm earning 30,000 and I'm to buy a property right now whereby I'm paying rent for 25,000, will I be able
to afford?
Will I be able to afford? Yes, I can play with the numbers and make sure that it looks good, but at the end of the month, will I be able to sleep? We really need to understand finances. Because now if they don't allow, there's nothing wrong with me renting. There's nothing wrong with me living at mom's house or pop's house. Okay, there are certain situations Of course, I understand if you have a family and all of that. But even when you're looking at sometimes as a graduate, I got that first job, even internship, I'm out. I'm going to live in Tenant. But now when I'm really evaluating the situation that, can I really afford this? You find out after all that whole internship, 12 months, now I need to move back home. When I'm really looking financially, what was I doing? I can't point a thing. I can't point a thing. So guys, we really need to be careful of this thing of affordability. Let's really understand affordability. Yes, we've got goals. Yes, we want to say to post keys. Yes, that's good. But at the cost of what? If it's going to cost you your sleep, if it's going to cost you your marriage, if it's going to cost you now the relationship between you and the kids, now you're frustrated. When you just see kids, you just frustrate. As take your time and really understand your finances.
Because now this is Neo just touched on something that's really like difficult, and I want to come and interject. Now this is my malume voice. This is my malume voice. It's really hard. It's really hard to be in a situation whereby you are in your finances aren't really straight, and especially I'll speak from a guy's perspective because I'm a guy. That's what I know, and that's what I'll probably only know. Now, from a lady's perspective, I don't really know as much, but I know from a guy's perspective.
Yeah.
When you, as a guy, are taking off a role of saying that I'm going to be a provider, and you are over capitalizing or overspending on your rent, and you're not able to actually afford that rent, now that also puts a strain on your relationship between yourself and the lady, where you find before you guys were good, right? You guys were good. However, now because you moved in and you're hiring out this most expensive apartment, now you're stressing about finances on a monthly basis. You end up actually using your credit because you want to seem as if you are the man of the house and you're able to provide. So what I'm saying is that as much as you are providing, make sure that your provision will still be able, your finances will still be good, and at the same time, you will also be able to actually have fun with your people.